discussion, and interpretation, connecting the findings to theories and previous research. When we talk about cultivating resilience in daily life, it's amazing to see how deeply this concept is rooted in psychological theories. One of the most important ones is the transactional model of stress and coping by Lazarus and Folkman back in 1984. Basically, they found that how we think about and respond to challenges plays a huge role in how stressful they feel. Instead of letting stress take over, resilience helps us reinterpret those tough moments into something we can actually manage or even learn from. Isn't it empowering to realize that how we look at stress can actually change how much it affects us? Stick with me because it gets even more interesting. Building on that, positive psychology, a field that focuses on what makes life worth living, also shines a spotlight on resilience. According to Martin Seligman, 2011, resilience is key to living a good, meaningful life. It's tied to things like being optimistic, managing emotions wisely, and finding purpose even when things get tough. And the best part? Resilience isn't something you're either born with or without. It's more like a muscle that you can strengthen through things like setting meaningful goals, thinking positively, and building supportive relationships. Makes you wonder, what small habits could you start today to flex that resilience muscle? Let's explore a few. There's even more to back this up. Cultivate and Fredrickson, 2004, introduced the broaden and build theory of positive emotions, which basically says that positive emotions can help us become stronger over time. When you feel joy, gratitude, or love, you're actually expanding your ability to think creatively, solve problems, and bounce back from adversity. Over time, this builds your resilience like adding bricks to a strong, sturdy house. Have you ever noticed how a little gratitude or laughter can make a bad day seem a little less heavy? Keep listening, we'll dive deeper into how you can use that every day. By weaving together simple daily practices like mindfulness, gratitude journaling, flexible goal setting, and connecting with others, the evidence is loud and clear. Resilience isn't just something you hope for. It's something you can intentionally create. So, if you've ever thought resilience was out of your hands, trust me, you have more control than you think. Curious about the real-life impact? Let's dig into it next. Implications of the findings. Now, let's talk about why all this matters beyond just theory. On a personal level, learning how to cultivate resilience changes everything. It helps you handle daily frustrations better, stay calm under pressure, and find joy even when life feels overwhelming. Simple habits, like jotting down a few things you're grateful for, leaning on a trusted friend, or reminding yourself that tough times don't last, can build serious emotional strength over time. Sounds doable, right? What's one small habit you could start with today? Keep that thought in mind as we keep going. But the impact doesn't stop with individuals. Imagine if schools taught resilience building as part of their regular curriculum. Or if companies made emotional resilience a core part of workplace wellness. Or if public health programs gave people tools not just to survive, but to thrive. Building resilience collectively could seriously lighten the burden of mental health issues and help communities become more adaptive, vibrant, and hopeful. Pretty powerful, isn't it? Imagine what could change if resilience was something we all built together. Want to hear about what factors help or hurt our efforts? Let's keep rolling. Also, it's important to see resilience not just as something we pull out in emergencies. It's a daily practice, like brushing your teeth or exercising. It's about preparing yourself quietly and consistently so that when big challenges come, you're ready. So, are you ready to find out what lifts us up and what holds us back in building resilience? Let's jump into that. Factors influencing the results. When it comes to building resilience, some factors can really give us a boost. First up, social support. Time and again, studies have shown that having a network of trusted people, whether family, friends, or even supportive colleagues, makes it way easier to bounce back from tough times. Knowing you're not alone can be the difference between giving up and growing stronger. Think about it. Who's someone in your life who always lifts you up? Let's appreciate them for a moment before we move forward. Another major helper is having a growth mindset. Carol Dweck, 2006, found that when people believe they can grow and improve through effort, they're way more likely to persist through challenges. Instead of thinking, I can't handle this, a growth mindset whispers, I can figure this out. Isn't it comforting to know that resilience is less about who you are and more about how you think? Let's keep building on that idea. And then there's positive emotional regulation. Skills like mindfulness, self-compassion, and learning to stay calm under pressure help you recover faster from emotional setbacks. When you can pause, breathe, and respond instead of reacting, you strengthen your emotional core. Have you ever surprised yourself by staying calm during a stressful moment? That's emotional resilience in action. Let's see what obstacles can sometimes stand in the way. But of course, it's not always smooth sailing. There are some challenges, too. For example, chronic stress exposure, like ongoing financial worries or discrimination, can wear down even the strongest resilience over time. It's hard to stay positive when the pressure never seems to let up. If you're facing long-term stress, just know your struggles are valid, and building resilience takes even more courage. Ready to hear more? Personality also plays a role. Traits like high neuroticism, meaning a tendency to experience negative emotions more intensely, or a pessimistic outlook can make it harder to bounce back. But even here, small, conscious practices can help shift those patterns over time. Ever caught yourself in a negative spiral of thoughts? You're not alone, and you can work through it. Let's keep exploring how. And lastly, there's the cultural context. Some cultures emphasize toughing it out quietly, while others lean heavily on community support. Understanding how your cultural background influences your resilience can help you find strategies that truly fit who you are. It's amazing how much our environment shapes us, right? Now, let's take a critical look at some limits of the research so far. Critical evaluation and limitations. Even though the research around resilience is exciting and hopeful, it's important to stay realistic about its limitations. One big challenge is self-report bias. Many studies rely on people describing their own feelings and behaviors, which can sometimes be influenced by what they think sounds good rather than what's actually happening. Ever tried to sound more positive than you really felt on a survey? Yep, you're not alone. Let's keep going. Another issue is the lack of longitudinal studies. A lot of research takes a quick snapshot in time instead of tracking how resilience grows or changes over months and years. Resilience isn't built overnight. It's a journey. Wouldn't it be fascinating to see a long-term study that follows people building resilience over decades? Hang tight. We'll talk about future research soon. Then there's cultural bias. Most studies come from Western countries that value independence, meaning the findings might not perfectly fit societies that prioritize community and interconnectedness. It's a good reminder that what works for one group may need adjusting for another, right? Let's think ahead about how to make resilience research even better. Finally, sometimes there's an overemphasis on individual responsibility. Resilience-building advice can unintentionally make people feel like it's all on their shoulders, ignoring bigger issues like poverty, discrimination, or lack of access to healthcare. It's important to remember, yes, personal growth matters, but so does fighting for fairer systems. Let's talk about how future research can bridge that gap. Recommendations for future research. Looking ahead, it would be amazing if more studies used longitudinal designs, following people over years or even decades, to really understand how resilience evolves through different stages of life. Can you imagine tracking your resilience journey year by year? What would your story look like? Let's dream a little. There's also a big need for cross-cultural research. Different societies have different strengths when it comes to resilience, and exploring those could lead to a much richer, more global understanding. Wouldn't it be inspiring to learn resilience secrets from cultures around the world? We're just getting started. Using mixed methods approaches, blending surveys with real-life interviews, could also paint a fuller picture of how resilience works day to day. Numbers tell part of the story, but personal experiences bring it to life. Stories have power. What's your own story of bouncing back from something hard? Think about that as we move toward wrapping up. Lastly, teaming up with fields like neuroscience could help us understand what's happening inside our brains and bodies when we build resilience. Imagine knowing exactly how practices like meditation or regular exercise rewire your mind for strength. It's exciting, isn't it? Science is just scratching the surface of how amazing our brains truly are. Let's close this out with a big picture view. Conclusion. So, as we wrap up, remember, cultivating resilience in daily life isn't just a nice idea. It's a vital part of living well in today's complex, often overwhelming world. Backed by science and supported by personal experience, resilience is a living, breathing skill that grows with practice. But like any journey, building resilience isn't a straight line. It's influenced by who we are, where we live, what we believe, and what systems we're part of. The good news is that by understanding these layers, we can build more inclusive, more compassionate ways of supporting each other's growth. So here's my question for you. What's one small act of resilience you can practice today? Because trust me, your future self will thank you for starting now.